You're probably watching this video because you're either thinking about becoming a doula or you are a doula, and you might be interested to know a few things that are crucial for doulas to be involved in. And one of those things is improving maternity services across Australia. So consumers have always been the change makers in Australia. What do I mean by that? When improvements have occurred in the past, it's been because women, mothers, pregnant women, getting together with, sometimes with midwives, have lobbied the government or lobbied their local MPs or have turned to the media and have complained of the lack of quality or the lack of service or the lack of respect that there is in the maternity system. So this is something that we can all do, and I think it's actually incredibly important. I've done this for decades. I've been involved in various groups as a change maker, and I had groups of women who were mums, who were lobbyists, unofficial lobbyists, and we would turn to television stations, we would be on the front page of the Herald, etc., and we would point the finger at the local hospitals saying, women are not happy there, women are complaining, these are the complaints, and then the mothers in the group would be interviewed about what their experiences were. So the idea being that we want improvements. Now, you might take a look at the system in your local hospitals or in your state or in your region, and you might be able to say, Julie, there's all of these things that are lacking. The services during pregnancy, the facilities that these women have to put up with during their labour, especially if it's a very old hospital or a rural hospital, and then the dramatic lack of services available postnatally. How many times have you heard of women where they've had a difficult birth and then they've been pushed out of hospital within 48 hours or 72 hours to go home and recuperate? Now, I get it, the hospital system is very jammed up, but to be just left without any facilities, without any support, is really a scandal. And Australian maternity system, especially postnatally, should be a heck of a lot better than that. So what I'd encourage you to do is to think about what sort of changes would you like to see, and then have a talk with the other women in your town or your region, your suburb, and start linking together and having a talk with other mothers and other doulas and other midwives as well. So let me take you back to the 1970s. In the 1970s, that's a time where women were mostly going to hospital, being dropped off by their partner. Back in those days, we called them husbands, and being dropped off at the hospital, and then they would give birth to their baby, and then partner would come and collect them a few days afterwards and bring them home. So there'd be visitors, of course, during that time as well. So back in those days, women often had to suffer through all sorts of, let's call them atrocities, shall we? So there might have been routine enemas. That means there's a lot of liquid goes into the bowel to clean out the bowel. Doctors rather preferred women to have cleaned out bowels. They would also get the midwives to lay women on their backs with their legs up in stirrups, and they'd shave off all of their pubic hair. And you might think, my goodness, those women, did they have a choice in this? No, it was considered routine. There were other things that were done to them as well, and they were forced to lay on their backs, forced to have their legs up in stirrups. Now, do you think back then that doctors said, oh, you don't look very comfortable, you should be allowed to get up and move around? No, that's not what happened at all. The system was the way the system was. Medically trained people were the way that they were. It was women helping other women see a better way to give birth and educating them. And then back then in the 1970s was the very beginning of women saying, I won't come to hospital if my husband's not allowed to come with me. And then if a doctor said, no, your husband's not welcome, then they would sack that doctor, move to a different doctor that would allow the husband to come with them. And so the doctors that did allow, they became extremely popular, and the ones that didn't allow became extinct. And so it also happened with hospitals. So some hospitals had a policy of, ooh, no, you wouldn't want your husband there to see what goes on. He won't like you anymore afterwards. And so those hospitals gradually disappeared if they stuck with their ideas. And the hospitals that were progressive, that did improve, that did embrace change, flourished. And so what we need to do is band together as women, and I would certainly recommend everybody in the rural areas of Australia turn to the Country Women's Association, the CWA. Go along to their meetings, become a member, and start talking to them all about the local hospitals. What can we do? How do they need to be improved? What services need to be improved? And bring on board other organisations to help gain traction with improvements to maternity services. So I very much recommend that you form groups, whether it's like a play group, and then you start talking to all of them and getting organised, invite your local media, jump on Facebook, get on Instagram, and get some traction that way as well. Get as many people as possible to voice their concerns and to turn to the politicians. The time when this is the most effective, of course, is during an election year. So, that'll be coming up eventually. So, organise a group, and it doesn't have to be a big protest or a rally or anything, but if that does happen, so much the better. So if you want to, you can contact me, email me, give me a call, and I can give you some more ideas. My phone number is 0401 26 5530, and I'll look forward to discussing this with you further.